NBA Straya. How are you going? Hey, are you good? You should be. Why is that, Jim? Well, because I'm doing a show in August. There you go. What got you up off your ass to do a show, Jim? Well, a few things. So, right off the bat, this is NBA Straya. I'm your host, James Clements, here in Larryama Studios in a Russell Westbrook jersey. Yeah, because he retired. Aw, now I'm sad. It is Thursday, August 13, and the Lakers just got sold again. WTF. We're going to talk that out. We're going to talk out Russell Westbrook. We also got a big bunch of the schedule released today, with the rest of it coming tomorrow. That's all the games that just happened. Whereas they gave us a bunch of the really cool marquee games, which is neat, as well as the NBA Cup groups. And then just picture this in your mind. Oh, mate, Box Hill Benny the Bricky, Benny the Boomer? Question mark. We'll talk out this Boomers unofficial mini camp that's happening right now here in Melbourne. So yeah, let's get into it. This is episode 1429 of NBA Straya. We've also got some fun news about me being in the States. Let's go!
This is Josh Giddey.
G'day, this is Andrew Gay.
This is Jack White.
This is Joe Ingles.
This is Darcy Daniels.
This is Chris Anstey.
This is Matthew Delvedova.
This is Shane Hill.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening and watching NBA Straya.
This is NBA Australia. Let's do it.
Watch out for the shark attack.
You better watch out for the let's tick some boxes attack. Off-season boxes. Joel Embiid's in the best shape of his life. Tick. Zion in the best shape of his life. Tick. Ben Simmons shooting jumpers. Tick. We are really at that point of the off-season, but that's right. We've got some news. So let's start with the daily, some sort of whip around. There you go. Not exactly daily when I'm doing basically a show once a month at this point. But that's okay. I've got all these other shows. You can go listen to me on Footy Unfiltered if you like your AFL. We've got the Supercoach show. NFL Supercoach just opened today as well. So Jim does Supercoach. We'll be going full bore on NFL Supercoach and NBA Supercoach as well. So jump on that if you're about all that gear. We'll talk about fantasy in general as well over there. But the biggest news that we've sort of copped, and like there was such a convergence of things that I was sort of sitting there today. I'm like, I think I might have to do a show. There's like 5 things that have just happened, and I think I want to talk them out. And this is why having NBA Straya is just great, because I just go, right, I'll jot down some ideas and just turn on the microphone and the camera and off we go. So that's what we're going to do. It was a big day in the NBA, almost specifically today. The Lakers got sold again.
The Lakers
got sold again. That's right. They only got sold like a year ago. Well, they were agreed to more than a year ago. But by the time we've sort of gotten around to like it all being ticked off, Mark Walter, $10 billion evaluation, buys a big chunk of the majority out from under the Bus family. And then a scant less than 12 months after being confirmed as the majority owner, has sold it for $12.5 billion. Now, far be it from me to cast aspersions on anybody for making a cool $2.5 billion on an asset within 12 months. But doesn't this just seem very weird? Yes, it does, Jim. You're bloody well right. So they're being bought by, was it Bob Iger? You might remember him from places such as Running Disney. And what is it, Josh Kushner. Probably heard of his brother. Probably. Now, there's a man who looks like he drinks blood. Anyway, so they were in talks about the Vegas expansion team, right? Which had gotten into a point where these expansion fees for Seattle and Vegas, all that money just goes directly to the other owners, right? Which is great if you're an NBA team owner and not great if you're a player, but that's a conversation for another time. And then they went, wait a minute, this is hitting almost $9 billion for an expansion team. Fuck that. How about we just go buy the Lakers and pay overs to Mark Walter and buy it from him? This doesn't include the Sparks. Mark Walter, you might remember, owns the Dodgers, was combining the front offices of the Dodgers, well, at least a bunch of the business stuff, right? The background business stuff between the Dodgers and the Lakers, trying to basically beef up all the analytics background stuff as well, trying to do smart things, the way they've done it with the Dodgers. But it seems like your mate Mark Walter's come a cropper in a couple of different ways, possibly. How do you mean, Jim? Well, there's a couple of weird sort of whispers out there where he's having dealt with some health issues, possibly. A bit of insurance, possibly FRAUDs. Just going a bit hammer and tongs on some fraud, allegedly, possibly, being under investigation about it. So basically, it was reported back in July that prosecutors are examining whether a couple of insurers have actually gone out and not disclosed that their private credit holdings backed other Walter-controlled venues or ventures. So that would be fraud. So, Jesus. Alleged tax fraud from his other companies tied to the billionaire. Maybe he's just tapping out going, yep, that'll do me. It's going to go buy me an island somewhere. And so what does this mean? Well, it means you've now got a Lakers team that's suddenly in a lot more flux, is run by an unproven combination of extremely large sums of money coming from the Kushner side, Iger seemingly being the face of this, where it's running Disney, was very, very, very successful in that the first time round. Stepped away, came back, wasn't as successful the second time, clearly been a bit bored, was looking to buy Vegas, and now he's got the Lakers. So, that's certainly something. Seems a bit weird as well, because mostly I think he's a Knicks fan, but whatever. Essentially, you're turning this sort of, this NBA team purchasing and ownership stake stuff into this weird sort of rich guy roulette at the moment, where you've just got, some of the worst people seemingly buying these teams. Tom Dundon, El Cheapo, the worst bloke in the NBA, just bought the Blazers. Everybody hates him because he's gutted the team. Every Blazers fan is now going to be looking at this going, do you reckon he's going to do the same thing? Oh, just imagine if he then on-sold it for way more and just cashed out. That's probably the best case scenario at this point for the Blazers, isn't it? So, yeah, it's a bit weird. Anyway, so that's another sort of big issue I guess we have now, where at least Bill Chisholm, who bought the Celtics, seems like a pretty big Celtics fan, whereas a lot of the other guys, you're just what are you doing? The family that bought the Mavericks, those horrible, horrible vultures, same sort of vibe. At least Matt Ishbia likes basketball, right? So here's a bit of a timeline on some of these sales as well. You go back through it. So we've just gone $12.5 billion for the Lakers. That came after the 6.5, 7 for Boston, depending on who you're listening to. The Lakers at $10 billion. Blazers at 4.25. The Mavs at 3.5 because Cuban, smarter than everybody, sold it at a big loss. Well, not a loss because he obviously bought it cheaper than that, but sold it at under market value because if you listen to Cuban, he never put a foot wrong but always did something extremely stupid and very wrong. That's the Mark Cuban way. Steve Nash. Just every worst big man under the sun that he could get. Breaking up a title team just to waste away Dirk's final years. Anyway, but the Mavs 3.5 bill. That came after the Hornets sold for $3 bill. $4 billion for the Suns, $1.6 billion for the Jazz, $3.3 for the Nets, as well as I think they got the Liberty, and I think they don't own the Barclays from memory. The Rockets was $2 billion, the Clippers was $2 billion from Ballmer, right? That was basically when we started going into the Billies. Before that, it was the Kangs with Vivek, the Hornets for Tom Benson and Lacob and Goober in 2010. Like the Sixers was super cheap as well just before that. So we're now hitting these just insane prices for these companies, which, you know, if you look at the way the CBA, and like I'll get to my point. The point is essentially if you look at the CBA, these teams now have these locked in prices, right? Where you've got a hard cap essentially. So they've essentially got their expenses, that which they are, kind of locked away. And you're sort of looking at it this, like $12.5 billion, it's going to take a lot to recoup that money, right? So now you got to think about how they'll go about that. The Lakers still have like at least the big thing with the big NBA salary cap dip is the lack of local TV money, right? So you got your national broadcasters paying X amount of dollars, but the entire basketball revenue was always propped up as well by your local TV networks paying to broadcast their local teams. That's fallen flat on its ass because no one watches them through that anymore in the States, and so we took a bit of a dip this year. But so the owners are looking at this going, right, we've got X amount of players' salaries, how much it costs to run our team over here. We've got our media rights deal over here, and we have a big fat check coming our way for NBA expansion. For doing nothing but saying thumbs up to expansion, we'll probably get anywhere between, $7.5, $8, $9 billion for Seattle and Vegas each, possibly. And then we'll just all, between the 30 owners, we'll just split that and we don't have to share it with any of the players. So that's just a big chunk of change coming down the pipe. So the Lakers, what does it mean now? Rob Pelinka, one of the great survivors, just keeps ducking and weaving. Never his fault. It's always his fault, but pulls off the Luka heist. It's pretty crazy. Luke is just sort of blindsided by this. He's tweeting out today going, I've had a bit of change in my life the last couple of years. It's like he's flying to Slovenia to get his kids and get his calf looked at. They're changing it. He's getting traded. He doesn't know what's going on. He's getting ripped, I guess. That's probably the next video that we'll see in the offseason, isn't it? The Luke is ripped again. But you can see why the Lakers still remains like the crown jewel, but I do wonder, Mark Walter, all this sort of insurance stuff aside, looked at this and went, if I can make $2.5 billion now from just selling it, I'm just going to do that because it's going to take so long to make $2.5 billion from this team. He's had a look under the hood. This is a bloke who owns the Dodgers. He gets it. And he's just like, ooh, I don't know if it's a very, 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 very even competition right now. I've got Luka. My next best player is Austin Reeves. Awesome. So I don't know. I wonder if he just sort of got out while the going was good. My favorite part, though, was his quote was, so Mark Walter says, the Lakers belong to Los Angeles, and I have every confidence the best is still ahead. Now, is it? I think we need to push back on that a little bit. The Lakers are a great brand, aren't exactly a great basketball team right now, despite having Luka, who I love. We all get that. But this is a team that won 5 titles in 9 years in the 80s, right? They win 80, they win 82, they win 85, 87, and 88. And then they're also the team that had the last existing three-peat. Like, I don't know that the best is still ahead. I think that's going to take a little bit of matching. Don't you? I think that's going to be a little bit hard to top. The best is still ahead. I don't know. I think the best might be in the past, but you can build on that glorious legacy, can't you? So, yeah. Bit weird, bit odd. But anyway, so there you go. So what happens, I think as you see with like ownership changes, they'll probably try to change out some front office stuff. Maybe Pelinka survives, maybe he doesn't. It's sort of weird that Magic Johnson was such a big part of it. It's like, he's been a part of the Walter group with the Dodgers and then the Lakers, and he's back and he's doing stuff. And now he's not, I guess. I don't know. Do they keep him around as a franchise figurehead? It's very strange. So we'll see. But $12.5 billion, it sort of just shows you that, like, you've got, Jeff Schwartz, one of the agents out there, tweeting, like, being sold for $12 billion, and, like, you can't have, like, veteran players making money on your rosters because of the CBA. Sort of feels like we'll hit a bit of a crossroads with this old CBA, won't we, when the first chance to opt out of it hits and the players realize how badly they've been screwed and how well the owners have made out. So, bit of a weird one. Anyway, so that was one of the big ones that hit, and that's pretty interesting, pretty fun. $12.5 billion, sets a new record. The Lakers sold again. Blew my mind. You wake up to the news and you're like, oh, geez, that is a lot. I've got like just people from out of nowhere message, geez, Jim, $12.5 billion for the Lakers. I'm like, yeah, it's a lot. And it means the Lakers are going to go absolutely full court press, I reckon, to make all that money back. But yeah, if you're going to invest in one of the big teams and spend that much, it kind of makes sense. And sort of the interesting thing, I guess, about the Celtics, like, Bill Chisholm and stuff, like the $6 billion, you're like, that's pretty good. Do you reckon Wick Grossback and stuff are just like, oh man, we missed a trick? Like the Mavs now seem like a steal at $3.5 billion. The last thing on this as well was like, I've got to think, like the first thing that I thought was like, oh wow, imagine if Dolan now sold the Knicks after winning a title. How much would they go for right now? Like the amount of money you could get the New York Knickerbockers of New York City for to prize it away from James Dolan when he's finally hit the summit, reached the mountaintop, and then he goes, right, that'll do me. I don't know if he's going to do that, but wow. $15 billion? Would it be worth more than the Lakers? Who knows? All right. The second story that was very interesting, Kawhi. Uh-oh. Sir, another Kawhi dubious sponsorship has hit the building. Jesus. So Pablo Torre with his Pablo Finds Out podcast has been doing great work about all the Bulma and the Bulma Kawhi cap circumvention alleged allegation-y stuff, right? As well as Aspiration, the tree planting company, and now there's another one where it's like was it Daktronics who make the scoreboard and stuff, and it's like a business-to-business enterprise. So you wouldn't think they'd need a spokesperson that they pay millions of dollars to. But apparently that's what was happening with Kawhi. So that's very, very sus. And apparently when asked whether or not Kawhi had an endorsement deal, they were referred to a spokesperson for a crisis management firm who said, my understanding is Daktronics doesn't have a deal with Kawhi right now. And when asked for clarification, the spokesman said, I don't know what the company wants to say or can say, given the Watch Show investigation and all that. So, one thing I don't know if I really hit on, I don't know if I'd actually hit on it, the last episode we did back at the end of July. That was when LeBron made his decision. He's off to Philly, right? The Raptors Kawhi trade has been put on pause until the end of this investigation, which seems incredibly, hang on, why wasn't that going on beforehand? Right? At what point during the season should Adam Silver had said, I don't know if the fact that we're actively investigating the Clippers about you, Kawhi, I don't think they should be allowed to trade you. I feel like that should have come up. And then the Raptors like, screw it, we're going to trade for Kawhi. And Kawhi's like, he's a fun guy. He just wants to go back to Toronto. And finally, the Clippers sort of had the pause button pressed on them by the NBA. And now we've just got more coming out about other possibly extremely dubious deals where allegedly Ballmer might be, again, circumventing the cap a little bit. This is one worth keeping an eye on because I have absolutely no idea. Like, I think we talked about, I can't remember if we talked about this that much. The Raptors deal with Kawhi, it means the East was going to be absolutely just insane. We've got Giannis down there in Miami. All of a sudden, you got Kawhi up there in Toronto, LeBron on the Sixers. Like, we're chopping and changing, but it's all nuts. Does this trade end up getting okayed? The lawyers investigating this going to investigate this part as well. It seems like they already have, kind of, and it's only now just come to public knowledge. This is crazy. It's an insane story. WTF, right? It's absolutely nuts. Kawhi. But if you are going to circumvent the cap, getting your own sponsors to make their own deals with your players like Kawhi, and then your owner investing possibly in those companies to the tune of X amount of dollars does seem like a very clear and obvious bit of cap circumvention. All right. Number 3. We're going to have basketball. Schedule release. I mentioned this at the top as well. I am going over to the States. Old mate and I and the Squids are going to be in the States for a month. Hilariously, I was kind of like, look, by the time, like, we sort of pushed back our leaving date a little bit. And that meant, obviously, our return date got pushed back. And I'm like, oh, God, this is going to be the exact start of the NBA season that we're coming home on. And to be honest, it's exactly then. Because opening day is going to be on, I think, what is it, the 20th of October, I want to say. And so, yeah, that is pretty funny, right? Because I think it is Tuesday, October 20, opening day. We start with Boston at Detroit, Sixers at Knicks, and OKC at San Antonio. 3 amazing games, and I will still be on an aeroplane. Can you believe that? What horrible timing, Jim. But yes, we are going to be in the States for a month. So I'm going to take the Squid to both the Squids to a baseball game or 2. I'm going to ship up to Boston, go see the Red Sox maybe. But the Mets are in town while we're in New York. Yankees have got a couple of home series as well. I'll hopefully get the oldest Squid to at least Barclays to go see a Nets preseason game. Show me old stomping ground. And that'd be kind of nice. But yeah, it'd also just be nice to get some preseason basketball under the old belt and go check it out. See if we can't get an MSG for a preseason game. But I don't know. It's always weird once we find out the preseason schedule. It's all everywhere. You got teams in China and all that sort of stuff. So, but opening day, opening week, it's very, very. They've just absolutely front loaded the schedule and they released the Christmas Day game. So, as I mentioned, opening day is awesome. Boston to Detroit, that's 1 and 2 in the East from last year. Doesn't feel like it anymore, does it? But that's a 3 p.m. I love the idea of an opening day. We're going to go hammer and tongs, they say. Full day. And then you go into Sixers Knicks. That is unreal. LeBron James, Jaylen Brown up against the reigning NBA champion New York Knicks. The New York Knickerbockers of New York City. Remember that? They're the NBA champs. And we finish up with OKC San Antonio. Unreal. Opening day is going to be off its head. Later that week, you've got Mini at Miami. That's really cool. LaMelo versus Giannis. Golden State versus the Lakers. Hello. Thursday, you got Cavs and Sixers. Denver, OKC. That's really good. And the first prime Fridays. Knicks at Boston. Look out. Houston at San Antonio. Also very nice. And then on Christmas Day, we're going to have Spurs at Knicks. NBA Finals rematch. Miami at Boston. Giannis versus Tatum. Sixers at Lakers. LeBron James against one of his old teams. OKC, Minnesota. SGA versus Ant-Man and LaMelo. And Denver, Golden State. That is awesome, isn't it? So that's really, really, really fun. The rest of the schedule comes out tomorrow. We've actually got MLK Day and President's Day out there as well. They're not as exciting, but still, it's pretty good. But the other part was they released the NBA Cup groups, and there are some very, very interesting ones. East Group A is Detroit, Toronto, Orlando, Milwaukee, and Brooklyn. Fine. East Group B is an absolute murderer's row. This is the toughest, most insane NBA Cup group you can imagine. The Knicks, the Cavs, the Sixers, the Heat, and the Pacers. The Knicks, Cavs, Sixers, Heat, and Pacers. That's insane. All 5 of those teams are really good, presumably. We are penciling in the Pacers just bouncing all the way back with Halliburton coming back. But I don't know, post-Achilles and shingles, who knows. But still, that's incredible. East Group C's Boston, Atlanta, Charlotte, Chicago, and Washington. Sure. Thing is, the East is just an absolute murderer's row anyway. What are the 3 worst teams in the East? It's Milwaukee, Brooklyn, and Chicago. The Wizards will be trying. They probably won't be very good, but yeah. So there's only 2, 3, 4 just mediocre teams. Anyway, West Group A, you've got Denver, Houston, Phoenix, Dallas, and Utah. Again, really tough. West Group B's OKC, Minnesota, Clippers, Pelicans, Grizzlies. Not so bad. West Group C, Spurs, Lakers, Blazers, Warriors, and the Kangs. Verbal meme, it's the three-headed dragon, and the dragon's got the boo face. That's West Group C of Spurs, tough face. Lakers, kind of tough face. Blazers, tough face. Warriors, tough face. Kangs, boo. Love that. Right, so there you go. That's pretty good. The fourth thing. Do you want to do Boomers or do you want to do Russell Westbrook? I've got the Westbrook jersey. I'll leave him to the end because the Boomers stuff is ongoing. Ben Simmons, Boomers minicamp, unofficial. How do we all feel about this? My 5 thoughts on Box Hill Benny remain the same. Does he want to play? Does he have the desire to play? Does he have the ego to fit in where he's going to play? Does he have the dedication to change his game? Does he have the skill remaining at 30 years of age to adapt? Sure. There's a lot of giddiness, pardon the pun, around the Simmons Boomers stuff without any proof of concept, right? So we've now got Adam Capone in charge of the Boomers. He was part of the Nets coaching staff when Benny was there for a little bit and barely played, but still has a working relationship with him and wants him to be a part of it, right? And so Benny was asked by Channel 9 if he wanted to play for the Boomers. He's like, that's why I'm here. It's a long way to fly just to not do it. You're like, all right. And Adam Capone said, my first care for Ben is as a person. It's just great to know that he's healthy and working hard. He's going to talk to him about it, about being a part of the, national program, getting back to the NBA, and see the enthusiasm he has and the confidence he's building is super exciting. If you ask me, do I see a potential for him to be a Boomer? Absolutely. All right. So I guess the big question we've all got is do you want him? Do you? I think we're shooting challenged enough, right? Between Giddy and Dyson, and I guess Josh Greeny Green, Aussie Matty T. There's enough weird you think about Paddy, you think about Bryce Cotton and Jack McTray, whoever else will be in the mix for next year's World Cup and then 2028 LA. I'm still not wildly convinced there's even a spot for Simmons. But the giddiness about it is he looks ripped. That's fine. He's working out. But so much of this comes down to the simple idea of as I said, want. If he wanted to play, if he wanted to develop a workable jump shot, if he wanted to be able to hit free throws, he could. If he wants, he can change hands. Shooting left-handed, right-handed, Ben, just sort it out. The desire as well, I guess, of wanting to come back if he's healthy. It has always seemed like basketball was a pathway to just a horribly large amount of money for Ben rather than the world's deepest, darkest desire to win at basketball at any cost. When I'm talking about Russell Westbrook, I mean, if you put his want and desire and dedication into Ben Simmons' body, like, who knows what would happen. But still, it's also a dude who had an all-time fumble last year when he turned down like a minimum contract with the Knicks and could have won a title. But I don't know. It's hard to get past the simple idea of like his role on a team and his absolute reluctance to shoot and what that means for the rest of the team, right? At least what you'll see when you watch the Bulls, when you watch the Hawks. Dyson Daniels had an all-time horrible three-point shooting season this year. Did it stop him from actually trying threes? No. He just had a bit of a rough one, and he still kept shooting them. Every so often he'd hit one, and he'd like, look out, here we go. Josh Giddey, same sort of thing. If you're going to play off him, he'll shoot it. He'll hit some. He had some pretty great streaks throughout the season. The problem is, with Ben Simmons, you can just completely ignore him because he's too afraid to shoot the basketball. But Jim, he can do other stuff. He doesn't drive to the basket anymore because he's afraid to get fouled. In his rookie season, he averaged 15.5 drives per game. That then went to 9, 12, 10, 3.2, and then under 3 per game. For a bloke whose career, 80% of his points have come in the paint. And if he's then not driving into the paint, guess what's happening? His value on the offensive end, because he's not driving and kicking, his playmaking is completely plummeted as well, right? So you think about the way the prototypical Ben Simmons possession might go, bringing the ball up, drive, kick, boom, there you go. Or at least get a screen and roll, boom. Maybe you're setting flipping screens, doesn't really matter. He'd have the ball in his hand. What would happen the last 2 times we've seen him on the court is there was very little driving going on, and there was a lot more sort of bring the ball up, hand it off, go stand around the dunker's spot and do what? Nothing. So offensively, he throws a spanner in the wrench, as we say here on NBA Straya. Because his reluctance to shoot doesn't put him at a disadvantage, it puts the rest of his team at a disadvantage because they're giving him the Draymond treatment, but even way worse, right? They know that he's not a threat to score or try to score because he's not going to try to shoot, so they just ignore him. And then suddenly you're playing 4-on-5 on offense, and yeah, it doesn't go great. So you can see why NBA teams are like, sure, geez, how's that going there, Benny? And it's like, but the defense and playmaking are his big attributes. Well, as I just said, the playmaking is completely plummeted because if you are no threat to even drive to the hoop, guess what? Someone can just back off all the way off you and you're just giving the ball up. And then again, you're a 0 on offense. The playmaking is just not there. Defensively, fine. The attributes are there. The 6'10", built like a Mack truck. The thing is, you take a year off to go fishing after you've already taken a year or 2 off because you've been injured. Guess what? It's going to be pretty tough to ramp up. And if he can, awesome. If he's got the speed, if he's got the agility, if he can stay in front of other point guards or other, I don't know, at this point of his career, just staying in front of wings and stuff like that, can he do that? But then, what are you? You're a defensive wing dude who can't shoot. That's the value for him in the NBA is just really hard to see. And then when you look at the Boomers roster, I feel like it's a lot easier to carve out an idealized Boomers roster without him, right? With Giddey, Dyson, some sort of combination of Josh Green, Aussie Matty T, Johnny Frost Firthy, Jack McVeigh, Luke Paul, Dash Daniels. Who else is it? Xavier Cooks. So I think you think about like the way you'd use Benny. I mean, wouldn't you rather sort of have Matisse out there at this point? At least he shoots and can hit threes. He can space the floor for you and be the defensive stopper. He can switch spots, and it doesn't come with like any sort of ego, and he wants to play for the Boomers. So it's a bit of a weird one. So I guess what I'm trying to figure out as well, like this is very cool though. It is very, very cool to have him in the mix. Because you look at that mini camp and you see all those folks, right? You see Jock, you see Lockie Ulbrich, You see McVeigh, you see Nick Kay, my best mate. You've got Xavier Cooks there, Daly's there, our one true king hitting shots. You love that. Johnny Frost's coming off his knee injury. You got Jacob Furphy as well, Luke Paul, the next star, Dash Daniels as well. What you've sort of got there is like, obviously your sort of nucleus of around 20 sort of boomer and boomer adjacent players. And it's really, really cool that they're doing this. I love it. They've got Courtside Melbourne. It's their own sort of thing that they've invested in. So it's very, very cool. It's very exciting. And it's very, very good that they're sort of trying to build and sort of move on and sort of, I guess, build upon the boomer sort of ethos that, you know, Gazy and co sort of helped carve out, and then that really sort of came to the fore with Patty Mills and Jinglin' Joe Ingles and our, you know, Tokyo heroes who win the bronze. But it's very cool to see them doing this as well, because it's like an unsanctioned mini camp essentially, because you can't like the players. This is just voluntary for the players, right? They can organize it amongst themselves because the insurance is not covered for like by the teams or their associations, etc. And so they're just mixing it up, hanging out, doing their thing, and I love to see that. So you think about the Boomers, and at this point, I'm still probably thinking Gids, Dyson, Matisse, Cooks, Jock is my starting five. I don't know about Xavier Cooks. You could probably also just go Greeny, Matisse, and Jock, and I'm okay with that. Gives you a great set of defense, a bit of playmaking. You probably need more shooting. Talking Patty Mills off the bench, Bryce Cotton off the bench, who knows. Dante Exum, don't know how he's going to be faring after his latest injury, but you got Tyrese Proctor as well. So you got plenty of guards. You got, in terms of your sort of swings, you've got Johnny Frost, you got McVeigh, and that's probably where we sort of lack, right? There's just a sort of lack of big wings that we could be sort of throwing out there. We've got a lot of guards. Just would really, really enjoy having another very big. But the thing is, like, Gids and Dyson and Matisse are all massive. And Josh Green's no slouch either. So there's a bit of size on this team, but there's not any sort of big extra size as well, because Jock, Alex Condon, Lockie Ulbrich. I mean, you've got like the monster in Rocco, but I don't know if he'll be ready for 2028. But you've got like at least a lot of selection headaches, which is a really good thing to have. And it's going to come down to Capone and co. essentially just sort of figuring out the moving pieces and who's going to fit together the best and the way they want to play, right? And if Simmons comes into this equation, it would take a lot of convincing, right? For all the, you know, the teasing, all the, maybe I will, maybe I won't. It's a lot more difficult to sort of slot him into a spot in a Boomers roster than it was 4 or 5 years ago, right? When he was actually playing really well and actually driving. Again, 15.5 drives per game in his rookie year in 17-18, down to less than 3 now. Coming back from knee surgery, back stuff. Yeah, I get it. The injuries have taken their toll. He is massive. He's looking awesome. He's looking ripped. Does he want to play basketball? Right. Let's just see it, Ben. So much talk. Just hoop. Take some shots. Oh, but he shot in the video. Until he shoots in an actual game, I'm not going to believe shit. What is it? Fool me once. Shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on you. Fool me 3 times. Fuck you, Ben Simmons. All right, and final thing, Russell Westbrook, one of my favorite players. If you've listened to NBA Straya for a bit, you know that I've always had a soft spot for Rusty. And, I mean, so much of that comes down to he was drafted by my beloved Sonics. What was that, the 2008 draft? Yeah, 2008. It was like one of the final Sonics picks before they were moved, and so he never actually played as a Sonic, which is a shame, isn't it? Because at least you got that one Durant year in a Sonics uniform. So in 2008, and then he spent, 11 years with the Thunder. OKC, boo. Just imagine if it had been Seattle. He'd be an absolute folk hero. Then plays with the Rockets, the Wizards, the Lakers, the Clippers, the Nugs, and the Kings. It went real Dwight Howard there at the end, didn't it? Jesus. Chris Paulish. It was funny how they sort of mirrored each other as well. But Russell Westbrook was fucking awesome. But Jim, he never won a title. Yeah, sometimes, like you look at Charles Barkley. You look at, I don't know, famously Karl Malone, John Stockton. The sorts of dudes who don't win a title. Yeah, Chris Paul. It sucks, but Russell Westbrook was a force of fucking nature. So I think for his career, he averages, 20.9 points a game, 8 assists, 6.9 rebounds. And that's because over the last, 3-4 years, basically, after turning sort of 34, after that switch to the Lakers, where he averaged 18. Jeez. Still on the Lakers, he averaged an 18, 7, and 7. But that was sort of about the turning point, right? Then after the Lakers, he goes to the Clippers, and suddenly it's also the dropping. He was pretty good in Denver, I thought. But this is a dude who averaged a triple-double for an entire season 4 times. You're like, oh, Jim, triple-doubles are just triple-doubles, man. Like, they don't really mean anything. How about the bit where in the games where he had a triple-double, his teams were 153 and 56. 73.2%. That's pretty good. If you're going to put up a triple-double, win the game. His 31.6 point, 10.7 rebound, 10.6 assist season was the MVP year. And I fucking hate people who are like, you shouldn't have won it. That you fuck off. There is a sheer, unadulterated ferocity and joy in prime Russell Westbrook. Like, I get it. KD goes. The car keys are handed to Rusty. He can't get him over the hump. And he's just like, if you're playing through Russell, your wins are probably capped. You're not going to be Steph. But you were still fucking fun. And he was a really, really, really fun player. So he's top 75 player of all time. Wins the MVP. 9-time All-Star. 9-time All-NBA. Wins a gold medal in 2012. Has the all-time record for triple-doubles. And then there was this insane sort of idea where I think for 4 years, he averaged 26 points, 10.3 rebounds, and 10.1 assists. Like, it was just awesome. Right? You could see, I think the coolest thing about basketball is that you can see and why I love it so much is the humanity. You can see the flaws in people's games, but also their personalities and stuff like that on the floor. It's the most naked of games. Right? You think about AFL footy, there's just there's 36 dudes running around. NFL, everyone's wearing helmets and giant pads and shit. Tennis is just raw, naked emotion mixed with skill, and you sort of, it's very similar, right? Attributes on the court of the tennis court or the basketball court or something sort of get prescribed into your game in the way it rolls. Golf, I guess, is kind of similar as well. F1 is an interesting one where, we're trying to get to this. I think we've gotten to a point with F1 where the drivers' personalities and stuff are so sort of broken down and sort of examined. There's a little bit of that as well, but basketball is just there. Your fuck-ups are there for everyone to see. And I think in a different way from tennis is that you have to sort of navigate the idea of also you're out on the court with 4 other teammates. So your individual success is obviously easily measurable, but your team success that goes part and parcel of that is always going to be on this sort of different wavelength, whereas tennis is just individual stuff, right? And so that's why I love basketball. Just like cricket, baseball, you're out there, it's a bat versus the ball. The other team, it's you and a bowler. But basketball, the way that sort of it can encapsulate who you are and what your approach is really, really amazing. You think about the greats, like Bill Russell, an insane competitor. Will Chamberlain, not quite as much of a competitor, put up insane stats, but never won anywhere near as much, right? Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, two incredible competitors, two very different games. Michael Jordan, one of the most perfect examples of all of this. LeBron James, Kobe, etc. Russell Westbrook, as a unique individual basketball talent, stands right the fuck up there because first in points as a point guard in all-time NBA history, first in rebounds, first in triple-doubles, fourth in assists. He was a two-time scoring champ, three-time assist champ. He was a two-time All-Star Game MVP as well, so he fucking tried. All-rookie first team. I loved it. I think mostly because he just fucking played so hard. And yes, there were deficiencies to his game. We've all got deficiencies, don't we? Nobody's fucking perfect. Shoots 30.8% from three for his career. And even in that MVP season, it was like the highest he shot from three for his entire career, 34.3. I love that. 35.6 in only 21 games for the Clippers, though, in 22-23. But that across that entire season was still only... Oh, wait. What did he shoot in that campaign, Jim? What did he shoot for that entire season from downtown? Oh, yeah! He shot 311. You beauty. So when he was on the Clippers for the 21 games of that season, he shot 35.6%. But yeah, for the entire season, it was 311. So 34.3 was his high mark. And that year, I mean, come on, 31, 10, and 10 is just silly. It was awesome. And I think encapsulating like he was a difficult personality. I mean, was he? Was he just ornery? It never felt like, he and KD were always pretty buddy-buddy, but it always felt like KD, once he left, Rusty was like, yeah, that fucking guy. Whereas Rusty was always just like, hey, man, I am who I am. And, after KD leaves, what was it? One of the first couple of games after he left, the first home game, I think, of the after KD left, Rusty scored the first 50-point triple-double in NBA history since 1975. He had 51, 13, and 10 against Phoenix. Jesus. So how's that for a statement? KD's pissed off. Rusty just goes, fucking check this out. He had a 20, 20, and 20 against the Lakers in 2019. I love that one. There was the one where he put them past the Nugs for a 50-point, 16 rebound, 10 assist triple-double in 2017. His 42nd triple-double of the season as well, breaking Oscar Robertson's record. Oscar Robertson as well and Rusty, two absolute insane individual performers, and both with personality sort of traits that didn't exactly endear them to other folks. But anyway, hit this huge big game-winning three at the buzzer. It was hilarious. He had a huge comeback. He had 57, 13, and 11 against the Magic in 2017 as well. They needed it, and it was like, I think that's the most points scored in a triple-double at that point as well. He had 58 against the Blazers in 2017. Like, he had some insane games. And I think for most of us as well, right? Like, so I've been doing this now. So NBA Straya is nearly, I think next year will be 10 years, I think we started in 2017. I can't really remember. I have to go back and have a look. But that sort of golden era of NBA guards and point guards, Chris Paul, Deron Williams, Steph, Russ, Dame, John Wall. Like, yeah, it's like Kidd's gone, Nash is gone. Like, it's completely sort of disappearing, right? Steph is like just sort of out there, Dame. And yeah, it sort of worries me that like the anointed ones like Jar and co have sort of disappeared. But I don't know, we've got a lot of great young talent still. So it's just kind of weird and sad to sort of see these guys go, isn't it? Bit of a shame. Jalen Brunson, meanwhile, kicking some ass and taking some names. But yeah, let me know what you think about Rusty, because I'd love to get some other folks' thoughts and like their memories of him. Like I saw him a couple of times in person and absolutely fucking loved it. He's just instantly, while he's on the court, you don't forget it, right? And that's my favorite type of player. Like, I fucking hate when you're like, who's out there? I want to know if you're out there. And you always knew if Russell Westbrook was on your court. And yeah, so this is one of my older sort of jerseys that I got actually over in the States. Yeah, one of the old Adidas ones. Love this jersey. It was my running jersey for a while until my, knees and fucking ankles and Achilles started fucking up. But yeah, I loved his little bounce back, dragging Washington to the playoffs in 21 was pretty crazy. Got MVP votes that year too. 6 Man of the Year votes in his last couple of ones. On Denver, wasn't bad, as I said, right? Like, sort of came out flying around. He averaged 16, 8, and 8, I think, for them. When he was actually, as a starter, he averaged a 16, 8, and 8 and went 22 and 14 in Denver. This is it. Just give him a bit of a chance, and he wasn't too bad, I guess. But there we go. It just makes you sad. Just you realize everything turns. But I love Westbrook from the very get-go. Drafted by the Sonics. You think about those early OKC teams so first Durant plays by himself on Seattle. Then you get Westbrook, so it's Russ and KD. And then you get James Harden as well the year after, and you got Serge Ibaka, and suddenly, within a couple of years, you're in the finals. Like, by his third year, Rusty was an all-star and was already averaging like a 21, 5, and 8, and off he went. And you think about those iconic Thunder teams going to the finals in 2012. Yes, 2012. They don't make it back there. And you even think about like the way that the Thunder sort of situational eventually sort of broke down and they went into tank mode and trade Paul George, and then off goes Rusty. Rusty ends up in Houston and has a 27, 7, and 7 playing next to Harden. Goes to Washington, rips off a 22, 11, and 11, drags them to the playoffs. The dude was amazing. So, yeah, I really enjoyed his farewell video as well, narrated by Michael B. Jordan. Rusty doesn't say a word. And yeah, I'm like just watching and I'm like, man, it's crazy to think that's 18 years has gone by. And Russell Westbrook has been a oddly significantly large part of my life. Just love him. I fucking love him. KD leaves him in OKC. Harden sort of gets jack of him in Houston. I mean, he takes the Wizards to the playoffs. He gets, dragged over to the Lakers by LeBron and then made a scapegoat with AD and LeBron, and just, bit of a rough one. And then he's on the Clippers with Paul George and Kawhi. They don't stay healthy. He can't get the Nugs over the hump as well. Just beset by injuries. And then he ends up in Sacramento as a 37-year-old. Crazy one. I love him. One of the all-time greats. That 2017 one, I mean, holy crap. The three-pointer as the buzzer beater eliminated the Nugs from the playoffs as well, like from playoff contention, which was just insane. And that sort of was the one that got him 50, 16, and 10. I always remember that one. Just an absolutely incredible game. There was also the other one. What did he have? There was an insane one where he sort of went back and forth. Yeah, he scored 17 points in that Portland game in 2017 as well. 17 points in the last 8 minutes, and they sort of came back and won it. There was another great one where they sort of went back and forth at the very end, and he's hitting threes, causing all sorts of havoc. That's it. Memphis in 2017 at the end of April. So he hits this huge three, gives the Thunder a 4-point lead. Memphis hit a 3 going back the other way with less than a second left, and then Rusty has to hit a pair of 3 free throws to seal it all, and cool as a cucumber. And I will always, always, always love Russell Westbrook. What a legend. All right. Sweet. Is that it? I think that was the 5 things I wanted to hit on. The Lakers being sold for $12.5 billion. The schedule release. Kawhi Leonard's possible second cap circumvention deal. Amazing. Box Hill Ben Simmons becoming a boomer. Box Hill Benny the Bricky becoming a boomer. Yep. Possibly. And the Boomers mini camp unofficial. Schedule NBA Cup stuff was pretty fun. And yeah, Russell Westbrook. So 5 big things. And a bit of a cough that I wanted to hit on. So yeah, it's been pretty crazy. It's been very, very, very fun. So also, I guess with all of this sort of going on, I'll press the button for the music in a second. But what we'll do is because we're heading off to the States, I'm going to be doing another Dead Set Legends Club episode in the next day or two, or maybe for next week, which will be a pretty fun one. We're also going to do one for the next month as well for September, which I think is going to be the best Australian games of all time, the best games by Australians. So if you haven't joined the Dead Set Legends Club already, what are you doing? Go to buymeacoffee.com/NBA Straya and you get exclusive stuff. I'm going to be doing more writing this season as well. We're just going to keep pumping a bunch of stuff through that. It's going to be very, very fun. So go check that out. buymeacoffee.com/NBA Straya. Help keep the lights on. And we'll have an exclusive episode out in the next couple of days for that one. And then, I guess, what are you doing? And B, just go do it. And because we're going to the States in mid-September, I think we've got obviously NFL Australia will kick back in probably in the next week or two with the NFL game in Australia, basically being day 2 of the regular season. It's it's like coming very, very quickly. So NFL Australia, we're going to be doing a bit more of a season preview lead up this year. Sort of, gone out, had a few beers, talked it over, and yeah, there's going to be lots of interesting, fun, different stuff going on this year. And we'll do a little bit more preview action as well because there's so much more to, dive into for NFL this year. Myself, Gaz, and I reckon Jez is going to jump on a bit as well. I do still have Footy Unfilterated with Jez, which is very, very fun. I love talking about AFL footy each week. And Jim does Supercoach with NFL and NBA Supercoach and presumably NBL Supercoach as well. All coming back. That's your one-stop shop for all of those shows. Jim does Supercoach, NFL, NBA, NBL. I love talking NBL. If there's anybody else out there who wants me to jump on their NBL show, I will do that in a heartbeat. I have thoughts. Many, many, many thoughts. So yeah, we've got lots of stuff happening. So I'm going to press the button. I think that's working. Yeah, it should be. Because yeah, by third week of September, that's when we go to the States. We'll be there for a month. I'll still be doing stuff from there, but obviously a little bit tougher. But I'll be going to some preseason games. I'll jump on, do some preseason shows and some season preview stuff while I'm over there, obviously, which will be very, very fun because I'll be right in the thick of it. We're doing NFL Straya from over there. So yeah, it's going to be great fun. So make sure you subscribe across all of the shows, of course. And buy me a coffee. So you get exclusive stuff. And I can afford those New York bagels. I'll tell you what. Anyway, so that's it. Make sure you're following us across all the socials, of course. Twitter, Facebook, IG, TikTok, YouTube. NFL Australia as well. AFL footy for Footy Unfilterated. Jim does Supercoach for all your Supercoach stuff for all the different sports. Rate, review, star, subscribe across all your podcast apps and stuff like that. Jump in the comments. Send us through your DMs and any other things you want me to jump on and cover across on the Dead Set Legends Club. But also, I really want to hear what people think about the Boomers stuff and Ben Simmons because, you know me, I'm a little bit more, as I said, right? Like, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, go get fucked, Ben. I want to see it in action before I buy into it. I think that's my mature approach. Right? So let me know what you reckon. It'd be good to hear from folks. But that's it. Always big thanks to From Oslo for the intro and outro song. They rule. So do... Oh, how are you... So speaking of music, how are we feeling about the Good Things lineup? Limp Bizkit? Simple Plan? It's a bit thin on the ground, isn't it? Let me know what you think about the Good Things lineup as well. Anyway, big thanks to House Hats, Joshua Delarentis, Fascinated Goldmines, Ramshackle Army, Iowa Sextra, Green, and Dozers. They're behind all the tunes you hear throughout the show. So smash them on your streaming platform of choice or buy their stuff from Bandcamp, etc. NBA Straya supports Australian bands. You can help support this show, buymeacoffee.com/NBA Straya. Get some exclusive content in the Dead Set Legends Club. And that's it. Yeah, lots of stuff to cover today. Enjoyed that. If anything else sort of crazy and big happens, we'll jump on and talk it all out. But that's it for now. So yeah, we'll pop back up on the Dead Set Legends Club soon. We'll be back on this feed for NBA Straya. Basically, probably season preview gear unless other crazy weird trades or something happen. So yeah, I'll speak to you then, I guess. So we'll catch you then, you dickheads. This is NBA Straya saying, look after yourselves, would you? Hug your mates. And later, hosen.